Hello, YouTubers, friends, compatriots, bootlickers, shills, debt slaves, serfs, peasants, vassals, meat sacks. I'm Useful Idiot. Welcome. And today I want to talk about China. And this ties in well with the other video I did recently about the renminbi being added to the basket of currencies used by the IMF. And of course, there's this all this noise out there about the renminbi replacing the U.S. dollar as a world reserve currency, and I'm one of those people who just doesn't see that scenario unfolding. And some other recent stories continue to substantiate that. So this video is ostensibly about the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, this bank that the Chinese set up to compete with and augment the IMF and the World Bank. And the number of countries that have signed up to this bank started around 35. I guess is up to about 57 countries now. So really a large group of countries. Officially launched December 2015. So it is now ostensibly in action. And there was talk of Japan joining at one point, but they decided to back out and stay with the U.S. empire and its infrastructure. So no coincidence, I would suggest as well, that all this push for the Trans-Pacific Partnership over the last several years has also put China in a position where they really needed to create this investment bank to help offset some of the effects of the TPP and other economic moves that the United States and its allies have made in that region. And the bank has also gone from 50 to 100 billion dollars in capital that they have available. So off to a good start. And but here's the big deal. They're going to do all their business. They're going to lend in U.S. dollars. That's right. So once again, so much for all this fear mongering and all this noise out there about the Chinese wanting to replace the U.S. dollar as the world reserve currency. And there's a number of reasons why that's not going to happen anytime soon, at least in my opinion. The Chinese banking system obviously is not really ready for it. The global financial system of which Chinese utilizes, but has not been a huge part of. So Chinese need to have more integration in the world financial system, and that's actually what putting the renminbi in the basket and then working with this Asian Investment Bank. That's what all these things are all about, basically, is to get China more and more involved and entangled in the Western economic system, because I've kind of figured out that I think they have different plans for China and Russia, the U.S. empire, and the international oligarchs. And the plan for China is mostly what they see there is people, potential customers, potential consumers, potential debt slaves. And so that's what they see when they look at China. So there's a lot of impetus to not really want to go to war with China. But it's a little different story with Russia, and a lot of that is because Russia itself, the country per se, the populated areas are all relatively small compared to the vast swaths of territory that is part of Russia, that is just undeveloped natural resources. And at some point, I'm sure the U.S. would love to have access to that, possibly through a more and closer ties with China over the long run, somehow to fragment and destabilize Russia, like so many other areas in the world. But the big jackpot being the Eurasian resources and all the wilderness out in that area that is hard enough for Russia to control. So and so the real fear about the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank isn't so much China and the threat to the world reserve currency or any sort of weakening of the financial system as we have it now. It's just a competition for the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank, who have sets of criteria and rules that they use to basically put countries all over the globe under their boot. And why we end up with situations like austerity and these loans that put these countries on the hook and essentially put them into debt slavery to the global empire and make them less than willing partners. But anyway, there's more threat from the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank because of the fact that their criteria will be different. And as far as anyone can tell thus far, they're not going to be an exploitive organization the way the IMF and the World Bank has become just another instrument for the empire. And so anyway, this talk about the U.S. dollar being replaced, especially in light of the fact that once again the dollar continues to be strong, and it will always be a haven as the rest of the world crumbles, and also the fact that the renminbi is weakening as we speak. And so there we have it. The Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank is going to use U.S. dollars. How about that? I'm a useful idiot. Don't you be one too?